Hump Day, San Diego. We are here again. Your girl is in full effect. Today, we are so grateful to have some pretty cool guests on our podcast today. Under contract, coming at you full and not missing a beat. What does it mean to be under contract? Well, in the literal sense for real estate, under contract. Under contract can also mean any contracts you make with yourself. Commitments, personal goals, relationships, life hacks, whatever it might be. Under contract. So today we are actually talking real estate. I know in the last few podcasts we've gone off track and talked about other areas of importance such as mental health and other items that are very, very important in today's society, again, which is a contract you make with yourself to take care of yourself. We are talking cash investors, cash investments when it comes to the real estate industry, which all of us know in this crazy market that we're existing in right now, it is cutthroat. And when you have qualified buyers, whether they're conventional, VA, or even FHA, have all of the qualifications to open escrow and close successfully, a cash offer inevitably will come in at the 11th hour and take the fucking deal away from us. Never a fun moment for a realtor, but whatever, the shit happens. So today, I have Derek and I have Drew from We Buy San Diego, and I have done a deal with them, getting ready to do another deal with them, and we're sitting, the backdrop today is a home that they have completely gutted and remodeled, and I have to tell you guys, if this is the kind of shit that they do, sign me the fuck up because I want a house like this. Welcome, Drew. Welcome, Derek. We're so honored to have you. What's going on?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. This is great, Tammy.
Was that quite the introduction, or was that a little shy?
No, I actually, can you do more, please? That wasn't quite enough.
That was spot on.
And I haven't had any coffee. So guys, I mean, obviously you guys have been doing this for a hot minute. And, you know, if this is any indication of what your work is like, why wouldn't you go in and flip a home? I mean, for crying out loud. And we're in Point Loma. So, I mean, that zip code alone, right? Tell us a little bit about what brought you two together. Give us a little background about who you are. Why did you decide to get into this, aside from the obvious? I mean, really? And tell us a little bit about your thoughts on the market as it is now, where you see it going, especially with how competitive it is as a cash buyer. I mean, let's think about that, Drew.
Yeah. To start off, I've only been in real estate now just over a year. Derek, we grew up together. He's one of my best friends. I actually was in the motion picture industry and then went back to college and then went into sales, was selling analytics to hospitals for a while. Then got into software sales, linked back up with Derek and moved back to San Diego. And as we were chatting, it was almost like that Wolf of Wall Street where he was like, I was like, how much did you make last month? And he literally was like, for Wolf of Wall Street, like $70,000. I'm like, you show me a check for $70,000. I quit my fucking job today. And he's like, it was actually like $78,000. So I quit my job and have been in it about a year, and the roller coaster ride is real, but it's amazing.
Yeah. And you know, I love that because it's one of those things in life where you're like, when something presents itself to you and you don't have to think about it, you just fucking take it and go with it, right? It's almost like what's meant for you will come and it'll stay, and you just hustle your ass off and you do it. So what have been some of the pros and cons of making that transition for you, at least immediately? I mean, the grind is real.
It's a grind. It really is, because you're learning a new language, and that's the most important part, especially when you're just starting. You have to learn the language so you can talk to people, because instantly people that are in the business, they know if you know what you're talking about, especially on a small conversation. So I first started cold calling and then door knocking and then driving for dollars. You drive around and look for crappy houses. Then you see if you're able to lock those up. And with a mentor like Derek, it's just a lot easier. The transition's been smoother, and it still was a very high mountain to start climbing. I'm still in the beginning stages.
So it's probably safe to say that I'm probably been your favorite client so far, your favorite agent to work with and will continue to work with, right?
Of course.
I mean, why wouldn't I be? Derek.
He's had some really amazing things to say about you. Absolutely. So
besides, I was snipped at birth and I probably have balls somewhere. I don't know. That's cool. Yeah. So Derek, obviously you've been in the business a hot minute. So tell us a little bit about, you know, what prompted you. I mean, you've got you're a real estate agent or a broker, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you obviously have the background. What prompted you to continue to go down this trajectory as opposed to just the traditional real estate sales or commercial sales or what have you, and partner with Drew and say, dude, this is where the money is right now? And how have you guys lasted? I mean, because there's so many cash investors out there. Acropolis, you've got them. You've got all these other groups, right, that are crushing it. But you guys clearly stand out and you're doing something right. So tell me a little bit about why are you still dabbling in the residential side of it? Are you just behind the scenes now and doing all the business side of this? And where do you see this going?
So I will take that in bite-sized chunks. The first one being, I actually got started in the industry in 2010 as an investor. I bought a duplex in Barstow, which is like the armpit of California, like on the way to Vegas, shithole. I bought it for $22,000. It's all the money I could borrow at the time. I didn't even have that money. I had to borrow it. Ended up flipping it to a regular at my bar. I was a bartender doing that. And so I sold it to my bar mate. And at that moment, I was like, okay, I made way more in this one sale than I did in like a year of bartending. So I took a risk and quit. And from then went on to all kinds of different things in the investment world. I bought mobile home parks. I bought properties at tax deed sales, auctions, et cetera, et cetera. And then kind of landed back in San Diego in 2012. And was like, all right, I'm going to get my real estate license because I was paying agents to sell properties that I was buying. And so at the time I'm like, let me get it and see how this goes. And what I found was in San Diego, the properties were a lot more expensive than in Barstow or Florida where I was operating before.
What are you talking about?
I know.
Barstow is like the fucking Mecca.
Exactly.
I would move there right now.
I mean, if you want crack or to get rid of that's why you would, no joke, the next door neighbor was legit
Squatter Central.
The leader of the Crips, and I had to like make friends with him. It was that's a real thing.
But you like to start there because the numbers are smaller, so they look less scary.
Yes.
Yeah, and I didn't. Yeah, exactly.
And daunting. I'm sure you could figure out the method to your madness, at least on that scale, and then grow from there.
Exactly. And so after getting my license here in San Diego and operating as an agent for a while, what I did was I found an investor here in town and I started finding deals for them and learned the ways. Did that for 2 or 3 years, and then partnered on one, and then from there that kind of graduated into now I'm a full-time partner, and then from there graduated into, okay, I'm running my full operation now. Currently, I still operate as a broker, but it's only by referral, only with friends and family and things like that, where I know like this, they trust me and I don't have to go sell myself in a listing appointment. But you'll be surprised how correlated the two are as being an investor and an agent, because they will go hand in hand, and deals will just kind of go to one side or the other. Like for instance, you flip a house, the neighbor comes over there one day and it's like, hey, actually I'm thinking of selling. Can you help me? And it's like, well, yeah, I can. Let's take a look at your house. And like, well, it's not a flip opportunity, but I can help you list it. And those are the kind of deals that just kind of happen. And so, but I think if you look at being a realtor versus investor long-term, well, investment will create wealth for you because you'll acquire assets that increase in value over time. They work for you. Rather, as if you're as a realtor, which is great, the paychecks are high and you can make a lot of money. But again, it is a paycheck and you're trading your time for money. And for me, it's a little bit more about trading my time for money to buy assets that trade me back for my time.
And as real estate agents, we know 99.9% of the time, all the hustle that we do sometimes will be for free.
Yep.
Because I mean, we go through that a lot. We have a set of buyers right now, Tammy and I do, that are pre-approved up to over $2 million, and we've got an offer out on a home in Encinitas that's at 2.6 right now, and even they are like, don't waste my time, right? Because we essentially work for free. So if you can partner it with something like this investment side of it, your return's pretty huge, right? So that's kind of where your head was. This is where Drew's head was. You guys partnered together, hit the ground running. How did you guys figure out the recipe to your success, and how quickly did that happen?
I'll take the start with that one, and then you can piggyback, Drew. So there is no magic easy button. It doesn't work like that, right? And especially, it doesn't matter what niche in real estate you're in, investing, realtor, affiliate, whatever it is, you get your reputation by proving to people you're going to do what you say you're going to do, and you do quality work and you don't screw anyone over. And it's been a decade of that here, over a decade of that here. And you will not find anyone in this industry that has anything bad to say about me. That's not me patting myself on the back. It's just true, because I've worked really hard at making sure I did the right thing in transactions with agents, with whoever it was. You do the right thing, not always about the paycheck. That will come back to you, and it will exponentially, it'll grow. So it started just with that, doing it the right way. And then after you figure out how to do stuff the right way, you just put a little juice on it. And then it comes down to who you know, and it comes down to networking and growth. And I think those two combined is what creates the magic sauce.
We were talking the other day, Tammy and I just completed a mixed use commercial transaction with one of our colleagues. And saying it lightly, she wasn't very scrupulous and professional in the transaction. And Tammy and I were talking about how that shit will come back and bite you in the ass. When you do not do the right thing, real estate's a small fucking community, let alone San Diego. Word will get out and that will jack you somewhere down the line. So being authentic, transparent, and having the integrity to maintain what you just shared with us about what you've done, and that has now rewarded you for your success, obviously. That is so key. That is so key because referrals come from a multitude of sources and they're going on your reputation. They're going on who you are as a broker. You know, a lot of clients and a lot of agents, they kind of look at each other and go, well, she's with Berkshire Hathaway or she's with Pacific Sotheby's. The brokerage is good to have behind you, but it's who they're really signing up for is you. They're signing up for you as a professional. They're signing up for you as your reputation and the hustle that you do and the hustle that doesn't ever stop and you get the shit done. So that's such a poignant point in real estate, in life in general, but especially in real estate because we're all referral based.
That's correct. The last point I'll make, and then Drew, take it away, is when you flip houses, you have to do quality work. And if you don't, then it puts the stress on your agent because now they have to sell a property for you that sucks or there's corners cut. And once one corner is cut, well, the eyebrows now raised and everyone's looking through a much tighter lens and you find all these other booby traps. So really, and these decisions are made on site during the renovation, right? You open up a wall and you find mold. Well, what do? Right? The right thing to do is remove everything and remediate it, clean it, etc. But a lot of people just won't do it. And that integrity thing that goes into doing it the right way. And so we try to take those booby traps out of the equation. We just do it the right way, spend the extra money. Even if you make a little less on this deal, you did it the right way. You have a saleable product. You're not going to get sued after the close of escrow. It makes it easier for everyone involved. And I think as Drew's gotten involved over the past year and a half or so, I think he's done a good job of seeing like that's the right way to do it. And you know, it's easy to get caught up on the dollar signs on certain stuff, but knowing that you're doing it the right way will create long-lasting referral partners, not just one deal. You may make a little more money quickly, but you're not going to be around in 10 years.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I going forward, and I share this with Drew, that you guys would be my go-to guys because I get a lot of opportunities that are off market, and I've already decided you guys are my go-to guys, right?
Awesome.
I've got a couple in my back pocket, but I've already seen my relationship with both of you, and now you, Derek, and Drew, especially over the year, has just been so solid that when you find a partner like that, you want to stick with them. And, you know, and anything that comes to my mind, I'm always like, I got to talk to Drew about this because I'm sure they'll be all over it. So you're right. That recipe, that special sauce, it does work because then you have agents like myself and other agents, I'm sure, that are like, oh, I got to work with those guys, right? So chime in. Did you forget what we were talking about because we took up all the space?
No. So, and Derek explained it really well. And just to add to that, at least on the sales side, we're not in the real estate business. We're in the relationship business. The same that you were just saying, over the last year, I send out texts or reminders or just top of mind. And then once we do go through a transaction and we see how hard we work and we make sure we say what we're going to do and then we do it and then get it done. And then we can do that and move forward. So it's really the relationship business that we're in. For sure.
So what do you guys feel? Let's name a couple of doozies that you've worked on recently. I know that we were sharing before we got on the podcast. Because, you know, obviously in our work, we see everything. As real estate agents, we see shit that we're like, holy crap, how does a person live like this? And then we hear things. And then we become, you know, in addition to real estate agents, we're mediators, we're negotiators, we're therapists, we're all kinds of shit, right? So we see stuff. So on the other side of it, like you, if you're out, you know, knocking on doors trying to secure like another project, tell us a couple of projects, like doozy stories or something. Yeah,
I'm actually heading down to Encanto today.
Ew.
And ew. Yeah,
that's like Barstow.
The City Heights one was a good one. We're actually door knocking in City Heights. We have a flip that we actually just put on the market. I think we opened escrow today.
Like an hour ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
And I walk the neighborhood, so if we have a house in that area, I'll walk like a surrounding 3-block radius and just knock doors on distressed houses. Look for properties that they need to be fixed up. And the neighbors like that. So especially if you see someone outside gardening or has pride of ownership, go up to them and talk to them. They're going to know who's in the neighborhood and which houses they want out of the neighborhood or the problem houses. And then you go knock on those doors, and I actually just knocked on a door where a gentleman Man, this is tough. So trying not to be a little bit. So walked in and he was
it's all good here, really.
Yeah, he's in a diaper. There's multiple diapers with feces on the ground. He lives there. Like you're stepping around. There's cockroaches everywhere. I mean, his son was murdered in the house 7 years prior to that, and you can still see the massive blood stain. It's just,
gosh.
It's disgusting. But then you have to go in and now have to be relatable to this person and talk to this person. And I actually want to help this guy. He's stuck, and I actually want to come in and help him. So I meet with him tomorrow to see if there's a way we can give him money for his house and then set him up. His sister lives in Massachusetts, and if there's a way we can get him there in a retirement home, and there's so much back work that we're going to do to try to help this gentleman get out of that house and move on with his life.
Yeah. Okay. That's par for the course for us, right? What about something that was like super exciting, super fun when you walked in? You're like, holy shit, that was way too easy.
Man, that'd be Derek.
It's funny that the
Everything's
easy
easy
ones
for
are
Derek.
few and far between. I feel
Derek
like
makes everything easy.
How does that work out?
Equity isn't really created easily. You know,
Yeah.
one of my mentors told me this, and I'll never forget it. So nobody will ever give you equity, but they will trade it for something. And usually it's for solving their problem, just like Drew alluded to here. So a lot of times we buy houses that have this big potential equity increase, but they're not giving it away for free. They're trading it for solving their problem. And let's see, if one that comes to mind that was easy. I guess this one wasn't even really easy, but we have one in escrow right now on the resale side in Claremont. And this was purchased about 4 months ago, and the seller wasn't going to sell it to us. They wanted a little bit more money, but we pulled a seller financing tactic out of our back pocket and said, well, hey, how about you finance it for us and you make some extra cash on the deal, and this way you make more money, and we don't need to go get a loan for the property, and everybody wins. And she did it.
Wow.
And we are now in escrow on the resale, and this one popped the clutch, to say the least. This one will be a very healthy return.
Yeah. So, given all of the hurdles you have to overcome, and given all of the, booby traps that may present themselves, right? How are you both able to keep clear vision when a crazy ass market that there's so many moving parts going on. I mean, forget about the transaction itself, but just to get, like, for example, on Montclair, there's so much going on down there with the demo, so much that can present itself. And like you said, if we find something, we're going to clear it out because we're not going to cut corners. And therein lies a defining difference between you and the next person.
We've already found stuff there, by the way.
No, I found shit that
Lots of stuff.
I found shit without even have to open a wall. I mean, I walked up, I go, what the hell is that substance? What is that? And that's how people live.
Especially with scabbed on pieces to the house. I mean, that back room.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother, it's like, what shenanigans were going on there, and why didn't you wipe up after yourself?
Who built it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I always go to the dark side. Who didn't wipe up after themselves? Right?
Everybody raised their hands.
Yeah, okay. So with that in mind, you guys have to have the clear vision of, okay, this is just another project. It might be a little bit longer, but we're going to get the shit done. What do you both do, whether it's individually or collectively, to, we all have our moments where we need to encourage each other because it can be kind of just, stressful at times, and like, fucking, we're under the gun. Time is of the essence. What do you do to stay focused in terms of, hey, we've built a brand here. We have a company here. What do you do to stay laser focused and just realize, this shit too will pass, and we're going to get through it, and we're going to get done, and we can't dwell on this nonsense because there's a lot of shit that happens in between the actual acquisition, to the finish. So what do you do to help you stay focused, as far as, do you look at the fact that, okay, look at the return this is going to give us, and, it's going to be a beautiful project. What do you do?
So I would say a few things. You got to realize
Do you feel
first.
like you're in a therapy session?
Well, I'm always in a therapy session. As a real estate professional, this is what we do every day.
Totally, yes.
But I think that segues perfectly into this question, because number one, the obstacle is the way. Like in flipping houses or investing, there are always obstacles. I used to freak out about them. I used to lose sleep. I've learned not to do that because we always figure it out.
Yep.
And it's just, there is no other option. You figure it out. Yep. So understanding that light is at the end of the tunnel, number one. Number two is having a good team of people around you. Like, we have a really solid team. My assistant, she's an absolute rock star. Her name is Lawrence, and you may have even been in contact with her. But
yes, briefly
she is an absolute animal in a good way. I love her to death. And then really surrounding yourself with people smarter than you, where you can pick their brains and you can get in front of some of this market action and these forces that are in front of you so you can make educated decisions before they actually happen. And so, I think you have to be humble in the fact that you don't know everything, you know very little, and really you need to start studying from other people who have done this in a much higher level. And, between all those things, it's like, I think it's not that hard to do what we do. It's just actually taking the initiative to go out there and do it. Yeah, exactly.
So Drew, I have a question for you. So what do you look for when you're looking to acquire a distressed home? I mean, obviously there's so many of them. I mean, what are the obvious besides it's a freaking complete teardown?
Yeah, I mean, if a whole bunch of mail is still in the mailbox and piling up, no one's there or no one's collecting it. Right. Look at the roofs and then look at windows. If you see single pane windows, the inside isn't remodeled. Most people won't remodel a kitchen and leave their windows single pane. The roofs, if the roofs are deteriorating, look at the cars. Is there a broken down car in the driveway? They're not. So there's a lot of clues.
Do you do a ton of RVs with like all kinds of shit scattered on the lawn count?
Oh, they do. Or people living in the RVs now.
Or hitches that are loaded with shit. Yeah.
Or a tough shed in the backyard.
I mean, whatever fucking works. Yes.
Just like Montclair.
Montclair. Yeah. So there's certain obvious signs, obviously, that the layperson would even identify and go, okay, that was probably abandoned, right?
And there's other targets you can do on lists. You can look for someone that has complete ownership of the house. They have 100% equity, or you can even put parameters like 50% equity, so they're going to get some kind of cash out of the deal to be able to move out of state, or looking if they want to move out of state, and then just talking to people. So
how far out will you go for a property? And the reason I say this is selfishly because I just acquired a listing in Lake Arrowhead, and they want to unload it. It's on a ton of land, and it's got, how far out will you go?
We will look at Lake Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I literally just got the listing last evening. It's a previous client. We sold her home in Rancho Penasquitos, and she texted me and she goes, I want to unload it, whatever you need to do. And
great.
It's
Let's talk offline.
Yeah. That is meant for none of you to reach out to me, by the way. Exactly. This is already a done deal.
Do me a favor and let me walk that property.
Go. I'll give you the address right now. Go. So you got it down to a science. You guys have excelled. You guys are killer to work with. And for all of you out there, agents, they're hands off. You cannot work with them. I'm establishing territory. No, truly though, amazing individuals here. We Buy San Diego, class act. And I have to tell you guys, as real estate agents, we come across pocket listings. We come across clients that will reach out to you. And with my series moving on, I have a ton of submissions that write into the show and say, oh my God, my home needs fixing up. It needs remodeling. I need to sell it. Or I don't really want to fix it up. I just want to get rid of it. And it's a piece of shit home. And those properties literally need help. Whether it's selling it and you're helping the client because you are taking it and you're giving them the money that they need, the proceeds so they can go and live a better life. But however we get these leads, you guys somehow have it figured out. And I know I've talked to a ton of cash investors, and they don't seem to have the flow that you guys have. They have this like ADD Tourette's approach to what they do, which I feel like causes a major clusterfuck when you're trying to get shit done. So you have to be clear-eyed, you have to be laser focused, and you guys seem to have it all dialed in. So where do you guys, and this will be the final question because I know we all have to jam because we all have things to do today because I have to go shopping. I don't know about you guys, but real estate can wait. But where do you guys see, obviously in this competitive market, cash is king. Where do you see this role that you have, this business that you've created? How do you feel it's going to play out going forward? Will it have as much relevance and significance as it does now? I would say yes. And where do you see the future of what you guys are doing?
Derek will finish this one.
Oh, he's like deferring to you a lot.
Well, he's the owner of the company.
Oh, but you're the guy that gets into the shit literally.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
On the acquisition side.
I think maybe we should both chime in on this one, but I'll start. So, there's always going to be a need for a cash buyer. Why? Because some properties simply aren't financeable, right? So this one with shit on this guy's floor and appliances not working, well, no appraiser is going to allow a bank to finance that. So there will always be that necessity. And in a place like San Diego, we have a lot of homes that were built turn of the century, early 1900s. Now, granted, that's the older neighborhoods, North Park, University Heights, City Heights, et cetera. But over that 120 years, there is always properties that are turning over that need to be renovated and need work. Now, granted, over time, I think that number gets smaller and smaller because San Diego is not building any new construction. So our number of permits pulled are just so far below what we need here as a population. But with that said, I don't see that disappearing anytime in the next decade or two. There's always going to be a need for an investor that does quality work that can close quickly. Because again, that's the key word here is a lot of times we are solving someone's problem and they need cash yesterday. I literally had a guy was like, I need to move to North Carolina next week. Can you close on my duplex? And I said, I sure can. Let me take a look. Made him an offer, closed on it. His son was in the driveway the next week with the moving truck, moved all his stuff out. And you can't do that with financing. So that will always be here. And I think in San Diego, we have this amazing geography here that other locations don't, right? We have the Pacific Ocean to the west, we have Camp Pendleton to the north, mountains to the east, and Mexico to the south. So we have this little pocket that isn't getting any bigger, and it's not like Phoenix where you can build out. Here, we don't have any more land, so you have to build up or you have to build dense. So that really puts a premium on the stock of homes that we really have. So the ones that are here that need work are always going to have an opportunity for someone to come in and do it.
Yeah. Wow.
Well said.
Is that you chiming in?
That would be his 2 cents. Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm excited to just to see kind of how where this all goes, right? I mean, it's so interesting to me whenever we have cash investors, because at the end of the day, we even have cash buyers. They're not even investors who are rolling up with $2 million. Who has that sitting in their pocket? The people who are selling their homes and living in Airbnb for a minute before they decide what to buy. That's who's it. People who've moved from Seattle, right? So cash investing, you guys, huge part of real estate. And if you as a real estate agent have not dabbled in this part of what we do, you might want to consider it, because it is definitely a huge niche that needs to be even more so developed, because it's out there. There are a ton of homes that, just like you said, Derek, cannot be loaned on. And if they want to sell, they're feeling hopeless. They're feeling desperate. They're feeling like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? I don't want to live here anymore. I need those proceeds. And I need those proceeds because I need to start my life in New Mexico or Vegas or wherever they're going. So if you've not considered partnering with cash investors, don't call We Buy San Diego.
Please call us.
Please do. And their information will be featured down below. As always, we appreciate you, San Diego. It's always an honor to partner with like-minded individuals in the real estate world. This is definitely something a little different than what we normally do, talking traditional real estate. Although cash investing and investors is an intricate part of what we do these days. And I wanted to bring a highlight to what you guys do, your company, the services you provide. And for any agent that's looking to dabble in it or even get involved with it, reach out to you guys, because you guys are a class act for sure. And I cannot wait to make more money with you guys. Montclair will be interesting, but that's like our first project together. Lake
First
Arrowhead.
of many.
Yes,
Yeah, correct.
Lake Arrowhead will on the horizon. We've got one in Lakeside coming. So my point is, you guys, even if you reached out to them, I'm going to monopolize their time. San Diego, you guys are cool. We thank you, Drew. We thank you, Derek.
Thank you,
San
Tammy.
Diego, as always, stay classy. We will see you on the other side. Peace out.
Peace.
Take care.